Hey everyone, thank you for joining me again on an attempt to understand with Adam Dean. So today we are diving into something that's probably holding you back, holding your money back, holding your growth back, and honestly just holding your whole potential back. Okay, I'm talking about the one thing that's trapping your finances and making your progress feel slower than it should. Let's get into it. So here's the deal. I've been consuming a lot of financial education content recently. I have for a long time, but just recently it's been on my mind. And there's really two types of creators out there, okay? You have the people that just sell repackaged information onto you to try to get you into their ecosystem, okay? They're usually selling dreams that are kind of unattainable or too good to be true. And these people are really just fraudsters. These people just put a bunch of information together that is out there. Some of it works, some of it is just manipulative, and they sell it as like a nice, cleverly packaged wee scam. Okay, so we're thinking about the people that are gonna sell you courses and tell you that you're gonna 10x your income through property, forex trading, or whatever it is. And a lot of time, these people align themselves with financial advice because they know that someone who is looking for guidance financially is often in a easier place to lead to remove what money they do have or what credit they can take than convincing someone who does have a lot of money that they really need your thing. Now, the other type, the second type, is what I would think, I guess, is really the genuine creators. Okay, the people that more sit down and have actual discussions on a podcast, they do an actual financial review with someone, and they go over what they make and what they spend and all the ins and outs of it. They give usually pretty straightforward advice, like the debt snowball, and usually it's pretty fine. To be honest, it gets a bit dramatic for my taste. The fights and the bad decisions and calling people out for this, and it kind of turns everything into like an entertainment spectacle more than it really is a straightforward value, proposition for that person. Instead of just saying, well, probably shouldn't have spent the money on that. But it gets a lot more views if you can make a big old fucking face and everything and really make it a lot more dramatic for the viewers. But really the tendency and the reason we're having this conversation is because I realized that I was consuming this kind of genuine creators, these Dave Ramsey from back in the day. I remember watching Dave Ramsey a good while ago. Caleb Hammer is very famous at the moment. There's another one. His name leaves my head. I'll try to put a wee photo or something here. It's like a French dude. He's really nice. I really like him. He has a level head on him. But regardless of who it was, I realized with myself and my pattern that I was basically watching the content just to feel better about my position. They're getting people in like the most struggling situation to come on that financial show, and usually they'll have an incredible amount of debt. They'll have student debt, credit card debt, and whatever it was that they had, whether it was the debt or whether they were in a poor position with their job and they were driving like Uber Eats or something and not making a huge amount of money, or whether it was the spending habits they had within themselves. I would basically just watch it to put myself on a little stool and make myself feel better and say, at least I'm not in that bad of a situation. And that tendency, I viewed it, I guess I didn't really think about it, but in the back of my head, I didn't check it as an unhealthy thing because it wasn't the opposite comparison. It wasn't me looking at Jeff Bezos or whatever in a what does he drive? I don't know what he drives. A $1 billion Lamborghini or something, and saying, "Oh my goodness, why am I not in a $1 billion Lamborghini?" Because I wasn't doing that, because I wasn't doing it in the strict way that people told me, don't compare yourself to someone better off. I was just continually comparing myself to these people in struggling positions, and then just feeling pretty good, being like, you know what, this is pretty nice. I'm actually doing okay here, which again I think is fine for a moment. But I was just so consistently doing it. I was over-consuming the financial content to the point that I just wasn't growing. I wasn't focused on trying to get my finances to a better level, of trying to actually put my money in better places and really think about it more. I was still spending a decent amount, just just living. And it could have all been put into much better use. And I'm not saying I'm perfect now, of course, but that was just my tendency at the time. I think that was kind of my process, was like, oh, I feel a bit bad about money. Maybe I spent too much. Let me go watch a video of someone who's, 10 times worse with money comparatively on paper. And then that makes me feel a little bit better. And I think that just really held me back. That just really kept me in the same place, kept me content to be in the same place for longer than I wish, to be perfectly honest. So really the problem is exactly that. That comparison just kept me just frozen. And really the lesson, if you're taking anything away from this, and I hope you do, is that over consuming this financial content, even though there is positive aspects of the content, there is good takeaways to have, right? There's lessons to be learned there, especially if you're someone that never had financial education. I don't remember much in my school within the UK public system. There is some amounts of like how to balance something. I remember there was a class for teaching you life skills, but it just didn't really do much, you know what I mean, properly. So if you've never been someone that has had financial education from a parent, from a guardian, from another figure in your life, 100%, there are so many lessons to be taken away from the content. But at the same time, it can just make you feel better about where you are. It can really stop you from growing. It can kind of nip your potential right in the bud. And it can keep you feeling pretty content to just keep on trucking. And you'll not really make any significant progress if you do that. You need to focus and have a plan and be intelligent and smart about where you're putting your money. Oh, dearie me. I hope I make some good financial decisions after all this preaching. Right. Look, that is about today's lesson, folks. So again, it's not about being perfect, okay? It's about taking small, consistent steps towards growth. And trust me, you'll thank yourself later, honestly. I certainly feel better for having, money into savings and stuff, all these life events coming up in the mid-20s and everything. So there's a lot to pay for, and I'm certainly happy that I'm leaving that tendency behind, where I'm constantly making myself feel a bit better about stuff just because I'm watching someone who's in a worse situation, I think I really fell into that trap quite consistently. I was always looking out for comparing myself to really rich people and being like, nah, you can't do that. You can't do that. That I think I actually had some issue with comparing myself to people in worse positions. So again, hopefully you got some value there. Hopefully you got some takeaway. Thank you for watching, again, this episode of An Attempt to Understand. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Everything goes well for you. Again, remember, comparison is, I suppose, a tool, but probably just put it down. Probably a tool you don't need to touch, And like I said, I hope you have a great day. I hope you keep working on what you're doing. I hope you keep moving forward, and we'll continue to all grow together. All right. Catch you in the next one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.